Most Americans will never fully retire, not because they didn't work hard enough, not because they didn't earn enough, not because they were irresponsible, because the retirement system in America is fundamentally broken in ways that most people don't see until it's too late to fix. The average American approaching retirement age has approximately $87,000 saved. $87,000. At a 4% withdrawal rate, that produces $3,480 annually, $290 monthly. That is not retirement income. That is a supplement to Social Security. That, combined, might produce enough to survive. Not to live, to survive. And the people with $87,000 are not the worst cases. Roughly 45% of Americans have zero retirement savings. Nothing. Zero. These are not lazy people. These are not irresponsible people. These are people who worked their entire lives in a system that was never actually designed to produce retirement security for most of its participants. Today, we're going to talk about why the system failed, what's actually happening, and specifically what you can do about it, regardless of where you are right now. Why the system is broken. The American retirement system has three components. All three are under stress simultaneously. Social Security. Social Security was designed in 1935 as a supplement to other retirement income, not a replacement, a supplement. The average Social Security benefit in 2026 is approximately $1,900 monthly. That's $22,800 annually. The federal poverty line for an individual is approximately $15,000 annually. Social Security keeps most retirees above poverty. It does not fund retirement as most Americans understand it. And Social Security itself faces structural pressure. The trust fund is projected to face shortfalls within the next decade without legislative changes. Benefits may be reduced. The retirement age may increase. The program Americans have paid into their entire working lives may deliver less than promised. The pension system. In 1980, roughly 60% of private sector workers had pension plans, defined benefit plans that guaranteed a specific monthly income in retirement regardless of market performance. Today, only 10% of private sector workers have pensions. The shift from defined benefit pensions to defined contribution plans, 401ks, transferred the investment risk from employers to employees. Instead of a guaranteed monthly check, you get an account whose value depends on market performance, contribution discipline, and investment decisions most people were never equipped to make. The pension system that made retirement reliable for the previous generation largely doesn't exist for this one. The 401k system. The 401k was not designed as the primary retirement vehicle for most Americans. It was designed as a supplemental savings tool for high earners who had already maxed other retirement options. It became the default retirement system by accident, and it has significant structural problems as a primary retirement vehicle. It requires participation. You have to actively enroll, choose contribution amounts, select investments. Many people don't, or enroll, but contribute too little, or make poor investment choices. It requires financial literacy to use effectively. Most Americans were never taught financial literacy. It penalizes early withdrawal with taxes and penalties, making it inaccessible in emergencies, which causes people to raid accounts at the worst possible time. Three systems, all three under stress, all three designed for circumstances that no longer exist or never existed for most Americans. The math that reveals the problem. Let's look at what retirement actually requires. You want to retire at 65 with $60,000 annually in income. Not wealthy, just comfortable. Social Security provides roughly $22,800 annually for an average earner. You need $37,200 from savings and investments annually. At a 4% withdrawal rate, you need $930,000 in savings, approximately $1 million. The median American household income is approximately $70,000. After taxes, roughly $56,000. After living expenses averaging $48,000 for a median household, $8,000 available annually for retirement savings. $8,000 annually invested at 7% return takes roughly 31 years to reach $1 million. If you start at 22, you reach 1 million at 53. Enough time before 65. If you start at 30, you reach it at 61. Still workable. If you start at 40, 31 years takes you to 71. Past typical retirement age. If you start at 50, you're not reaching 1 million on 8,000 annually within a normal working timeline. And this is the median household. Half of Americans have less available to save. Many have significantly less. The math works if you start early and have consistent income above expenses. It fails for a significant portion of the population. Why people fall behind. Understanding why people don't save enough is not about blame. It's about understanding the forces at work. Student debt delays savings. Someone spending $700 monthly on student loans for 10 years is not investing that $700. The loan payoff period is retirement savings. Years that never happen. Housing costs consume savings. When housing costs 50% of income, there's nothing left to invest. The housing cost explosion has directly reduced retirement savings capacity for an entire generation. Healthcare creates financial shocks. A medical event without adequate coverage creates debt that takes years to pay off. Those are retirement savings years consumed by medical debt repayment. Wage stagnation means the math doesn't work. When wages don't keep pace with costs, the gap between income and expenses narrows to the point where saving is genuinely impossible, not just difficult. These are structural forces. Blaming individuals for not saving when structural forces prevent saving is like blaming someone for not swimming when they're drowning. Understanding the structure doesn't excuse inaction where action is possible, but it explains why good intentions without structural support produce the crisis we're seeing. What you can actually do. The structure is broken. That doesn't mean you're powerless within it. Here's what actually changes your outcome. Start immediately regardless of amount. The single most important variable is time, not amount. Time. If you can invest $50 monthly starting today, do it. Not 100, not 500, whatever you have. At $50 monthly, 7% return. Starting at 25. Approximately $131,000 by 65. That's not enough alone, but it's a foundation, and the habit of investing builds. As income increases, the amount increases. The account that started at 50 monthly becomes 100, then 300, then 500 as life progresses. The account that starts today has 40 years to compound. The account that starts at 40 has 25. Maximize employer matching. If your employer matches 401k contributions, this is the highest return investment available to you. A 50% match on 6% of salary is an immediate 50% return before markets do anything. At minimum, contribute enough to capture the full employer match. Every dollar of match you don't capture is compensation you're leaving on the table. Use the right accounts in the right order. 401k to employer match. First priority. Roth IRA to maximum. Second priority. Tax-free growth for decades is enormously valuable. Back to 401k or high-yield savings. Third priority. The account structure matters. The same dollar invested in a Roth IRA versus a taxable account produces dramatically different after-tax wealth over 40 years. Reduce the largest expenses aggressively. Housing and transportation are the two variables that most affect how much you can save. A roommate, a less expensive location, a smaller space, each potentially frees hundreds monthly for retirement savings. A paid-off car instead of a financed one, 300 to 500 monthly freed. These are uncomfortable changes. They're also the changes that actually move the needle on retirement savings capacity. Build income beyond your primary job. The retirement math becomes dramatically more manageable as income increases. A side income of $500 monthly invested over 20 years at 7%, $246,000. That $500 monthly side income, if maintained, adds $250,000 to retirement savings. The specific side income is less important than having one. Freelancing, consulting, digital products, rental income, any additional income stream that can be directed to retirement savings changes the trajectory. The Social Security strategy. Most people claim Social Security as soon as they're eligible at 62. This is often a significant financial mistake. Every year you delay claiming Social Security beyond 62, your benefit increases by roughly 6 to 8%. Claiming at 62 versus 67, you receive significantly less monthly for the rest of your life. Claiming at 62 versus 70, you receive up to 76% more monthly than the early claim amount. For someone in good health, delaying Social Security is one of the highest return financial decisions available. It's essentially a guaranteed inflation-adjusted annuity that grows 6 to 8% annually. You wait. The break-even point where the higher benefit compensates for years of unclaimed payments is typically around age 80 for most people. If you expect to live past 80, delaying Social Security is almost always financially optimal. This is the kind of decision that schools never teach, financial media rarely emphasizes, and most Americans make incorrectly. If you're starting late. If you're 50 and reading this and feeling like it's too late, here's the honest answer. It's harder, it's not impossible, and the actions available to you are specific. Catch-up contributions. Americans over 50 can contribute an additional $7,500 to a 401k annually beyond the standard limit. Use it. Work longer if possible. Each additional year of work both adds to savings and reduces the retirement period that savings must cover. Working to 68 instead of 65 meaningfully changes the math. Reduce retirement expenses. The less you need in retirement, the less you need saved. Paying off a mortgage before retirement eliminates a large fixed expense. Downsizing a home reduces costs. Consider part-time work in retirement. Working 10 to 15 hours weekly in retirement, even at modest wages, supplements savings and extends portfolio longevity dramatically. Social Security optimization becomes critical. Every year you can delay claiming increases benefits significantly. Late starters have fewer options than early starters, but they're not without options. The actions available are just more concentrated and more urgent. Most Americans will never fully retire, not because they failed, because the system they participated in was not designed to produce the outcome they expected. But understanding that doesn't mean accepting it. The actions available are real. Start now regardless of amount. Capture every employer match. Use the right accounts. Reduce the largest expenses. Build additional income. Delay Social Security as long as feasible. These actions, taken consistently, produce different outcomes than the average. The average American has $87,000 at retirement. The person who starts early, invests consistently, uses accounts correctly, and builds additional income has dramatically more. Not because they were lucky, because they understood what the system required and provided it deliberately, rather than hoping the system would provide for them automatically. The system won't save you. The decisions you make within it will. Start today, with whatever you have. Because the worst retirement outcome is not starting too late. It's never starting at all.